welcome back to the second part of my mini tattoo series of videos for 30 before 30. On my last video I did a little tattoo tour for you and talked you through all of the tattoos that I currently have, and in this video I'm going to answer a couple of tattoo based questions. Thank you to everybody who asked questions regarding tattoos on Instagram. I'm going to do my best to answer a few of your questions now, and I will possibly throw in a couple of frequently asked questions to do with tattoos that I've been asked before as well. So let's get started, shall we? May Holly asks, do you feel they have negatively impacted your professional life? I'm personally concerned that getting tattoos so young will mean I'm less likely to even start a career because of others' opinions about them. I do think that it is naive to say that nobody looks at tattoos in a negative light anymore. I definitely think that in the last several years there's a lot more kind of open conversation when it comes to tattoos. They're no longer considered as something that brands you as like a vandal or a criminal or anything like that. I do think that a lot of the stigma and the negativity is no longer there around tattoos for the majority of people, but there is a percentage of people who still look at tattoos and think that they are kind of something that marks you as being somehow less civilized or some crap like that. I know that in some professional environments people do look down on you if you are tattooed. I think something that you have to think about as well is placement of tattoos. The majority of my tattoos that I have are very easily hidden. Even the one on my ankle and the one on my arm I can cover up. You know, I'm wearing a cardigan right now, you can't see the tattoos on my arm. Almost all of the time you can't see the tattoos on my thighs, and if I wear thick tights or trousers you can't see the one that's on my ankle. A lot of places do just want you to cover things up in a professional environment, and if you can do that then why not get tattoos anyway? In my experience, I have never had someone not offer me a job or look down on me specifically because they've seen my tattoos. I do think that there's a definite conversation there, and you should think very carefully depending on what choices you make with permanent changes to your body. But my personal kind of ethos around it is that I don't want to work for a person or in a place who looks down on me because of my tattoos, because I love them. So I've always made the choice to apply for jobs and look for jobs in environments where they are accepted, and if I did ever get into a situation where that was the only reason that someone wasn't offering me a job, that's probably not the type of place that I'd want to work anyway. Jennifer G. Barrett says, I was wondering, how do you go about the tattoo design process? Do you draw something out beforehand, or do you show images to the tattoo artist and they come up with suggestions? I never draw something up in advance to take to my artist, because I myself, although I dabble in drawing a little bit, am not an artist. The reason that I pay the amount that I do, and my tattoos, none of them have been cheap, is because I'm paying for the skills of a specific artist to draw me up a design, and they will always be able to do something better than I could. So my process ends up being, I find an artist who I admire, I follow them for a certain amount of time, I see other tattoos that they've done, I get an idea of their style, and if I have a concept I will usually message them with where I want the tattoo, the kind of size that I want, and the ideas that I have. For example, when I contacted Amy Savage to get my first ever tattoo done, I said the elements that I want to include are a robin, possibly some flowers, so forget-me-not flowers, and a locket with these initials on it. The rest of the design and the actual picture itself that ended up being that tattoo was 100% her, and that's what I've done with every other tattoo that I've ever done. I trust the artist and I like to let them have free reign with my idea because I've already researched their style and I know that I like it. All you really have to do is give them the idea and just let them fly with it, because 99% of the time they are going to come up with something that is just better than you could have ever imagined. C Star Mel has a question. Do you have any tattoo regrets? Ones you wish that you didn't, or the placement of them? I don't regret a single tattoo that I have. I really, really don't. I love them. If anything, getting tattooed has taught me to love parts of my body that I didn't think I could ever love. In particular, I've always had an issue with my thighs. I think that they're unattractive. I think that they're too big and veiny and they're covered in stretch marks, but the thighs that I have tattooed are, I love them so much. I love the tattoos, I love how they look, and they make me proud of that part of my body, which up till then had been something that I really, really didn't like. The other reason that I will never regret them is that they were very specific choices that were made at particular points in my life. And I think that that means that even if I'm not in love with being tattooed at one point, they'll always represent those key points in my life, and they're very special. Plus, I don't like to live with regret. What's the point? A couple of you have asked about pain in tattoos, and this is one of the things that I do get asked the most when people realise that I am tattooed. Does it hurt? Yeah. Yes is the answer. The process of being tattooed basically involves someone using quite a lot of needles to put ink underneath your skin, and that is not something that just feels like you're being licked by kittens. However, the actual pain is not something that's completely unmanageable. The bigger picture is, even if you're being tattooed for several hours at a time, you can go at your own pace, you can go as quickly as you want to, you can withstand it a lot more than you think that you can, as long as you're kind of full of food and you've had sugar and you're not dehydrated. You're much more likely to have a pleasant experience. And that initial pain is just nothing in comparison to how long you're going to have this tattoo. Believe me, I can't remember really physically what any of my tattoos felt like when they were being done. I know that they were initially uncomfortable, is the word that I would use, rather than painful. It's like being scratched on your skin, so if you can withstand that, you can probably withstand being tattooed. A lot of people have been asking about my process in terms of how I find tattoo artists, and I would say the majority of the artists that I find do come from Instagram. As with many things in this modern day and age, the internet is a wonderful thing, and Instagram really is one of the best places to get an idea of a tattoo artist's full body of work. If they keep their Instagram updated on a regular basis, you can see how their style is changing and evolving and progressing, and for me it's always been the best way to really get a feel for an artist and be able to follow them for a significant amount of time before I bite the bullet and go and get some work done by them. Other ways that I have found artists in the past are through tattoo magazines. One of my favourites is called Things in Ink, which is an incredible tattoo magazine geared towards women with tattoos. And if you want to get an idea for tattoo artists and the type of thing that you might want on your own body, it really is so inspirational, and it's a lovely, lovely publication. I very, very, very much recommend it. CNVAR333 wants to know how I kind of heal my tattoos, and tattoo healing is a very, very important part of the process of getting your tattoo done. It's not as simple as just sitting with an artist for a couple of hours and then everything's fine and hunky-dory. You do need to make sure that you take care of your tattoo after the fact, otherwise the ink is going to fall out, it's going to look really dodgy, and if you've spent a lot of money going to a particular artist, you really want to make sure that you look after your tattoos. So please, please, please look after your tattoos once they're done. I would say it's very, very easy to get conflicting information about how to heal tattoos. It is very, very unique, dependent on the person. And so my own personal technique is something that I have developed over several years of being tattooed by different people and being recommended different things. For the longest time, I used to use Dream Cream by Lush, which was a lovely thing to heal my tattoos with. But now, since getting my Roly portrait, I'm 100% convert to coconut oil as a healing agent. So what I will usually do is wrap my tattoo after it's done. The tattoo artist will most usually wrap your tattoo once they are finished. I will leave that wrapping on. I may remove it in the evening, give it a quick wash with no soap, just kind of wash it off the residual ink and blood and nasty bits, and rewrap it. But I will usually, from the second day, leave it unwrapped and allow it to air dry, because as with all kind of wounds, because a tattoo when it's fresh really is like a wound, I think it's better to let it breathe so that it can start healing as much as possible. and once it starts to dry out a little bit and starts to peel and flake, that's when I will use just the tiniest bit of coconut oil, because a little bit goes a really long way, and I'll just apply that to the whole area, just a very, very thin coating. And of all the kind of healing agents that I've used, I've loved that the most. It smells lovely because it's that lovely coconut smell. It's 100% natural. It's a lot less expensive than a lot of other creams and that type of thing, but I just love how it makes my skin feel. And I would say of all of the tattoos that I've had to heal, my Roly Portrait definitely healed the best, and I think that is because I used coconut oil. Celeste Foll, I'm sorry if I've mispronounced that, that's terrible. You know I'm terrible at pronouncing names. Did you ever deal with anxiety about the permanence of tattoos? I love them, but I always worry I might feel different in 20 years. One of the main things that a lot of people say to me when we talk about tattoos is that they would love to get them. They love tattoos, they think they're amazing, but oh my goodness, they last forever, and that's such a big deal. And I get that, because that's probably why I waited as long as I did to get tattooed in the first place. But when it comes to anxieties, which you will know that I suffer with many, the permanence of tattoos has never been one. I think that a lot of that is because of the amount of time and effort that I put into researching the different people who are going to tattoo me, and also the designs that I have chosen are things that I know that I will love for my entire life. And if I don't, I know that they are beautiful designs, and they will always be beautiful designs whether or not the actual images kind of resonate as strongly with me as they do now. The permanence of them does not scare me. If anything, I'm committing myself to this body that I'm going to be living in for the rest of my life, and I like the idea that these things will be with me forever. I like the permanence of it. I revel in the fact that these designs will be with me until the day I die, and without sounding too morbid, probably longer. It makes them all the more special because they will last forever. And I think once you've turned that corner and see the positives of something being with you forever, I think you can see that it can be a really, really good thing, a strengthening thing, an empowering thing, rather than being a frightening thing. Amy Florence says, will you come hold my hand when I eventually get mine done? Yes, my darling, I will come with you. We can get tattooed together. Let's make a day of it. I love you. I think that's all that I have time for today, you guys. I didn't get through all of your questions, and I am so sorry. Maybe I will do a follow-up video to this one in the future, but thank you for all of your input. I hope that you've enjoyed listening to me rabbit on about tattoos, and I will see you all again for another video very, very soon. I love you all. Bye!